Hey friends. So I'm on a little break between clients, so I thought I would briefly come live and share this. So I was on a mastermind call over the weekend with my coach, and in there she mentioned the law of assumption. And then weirdly this morning I was on YouTube doing a little scrolling or whatever, and saw another short little training or on the law of assumption. And I noticed that for me, there was a missing piece that's not really spoken about. And it's a little bit like the law of attraction. Like all these things have this foundation of truth, they have this foundation of reality, but there's this missing link about how to bring it back into the body and really imprint it and recalibrate the nervous system to be in alignment. That's always missing. And I think that that's why people are not getting the results that they want. So, and then I've had a few conversations with clients around how these assumptions that we have sort of really block our progress. They block our ability to actually do what would be the next natural step in our business. But for some reason, like we don't feel like we're worthy of it. We don't feel like it's the right time. We don't feel like it would work. And it's actually not that it wouldn't work. It's that we have these assumptions that are holding us back. And so for those of you who are not familiar, like what is the law of assumption? So the law of assumption basically says that everything you assume about yourself is what you receive from the external world, and everything you assume about the external world is the reality you see and experience. So essentially, like another way of saying that would be to say, like we view the world through the lenses of how we see ourselves. Um, we don't get what we want, we get what we are. We don't see the truth of how things are. We actually see the truth of our own perception, our own assumptions. And those can really limit, in some ways, I feel like the law of assumption should be called the law of possibilities, because any assumptions that we have, especially when they go into the negative realm, they really either limit our possibility, or when they go into the assumption of what we do want, they open possibilities for us. What's interesting too, that's not really talked about that much, is I think there's a lot of neurology and brain training around that. Like we've got that pesky reticular activation system in our brain that basically its role is to scan all our experiences and to filter out anything that's not in alignment with what we want and what we believe to be true. So for example, one of the negative assumptions that I've battled with that over the years has really potentially held me back is this concept that I don't have, my audience isn't big enough for me to reach my goals, or I don't have enough reach or enough visibility for me to reach my goals. And then I met my own coach, Mika Tankerson, who literally crossed $1 million with, like a very small audience and a very small email list. Or another one that I hear all the time is, oh, I'm never going to be able to get to this level without a big team. And that's just not true. Actually, a big team sometimes can overcomplicate your business and keep you stuck in the weeds rather than actually allow you to make money. So we all have these little assumptions about businesses. There's no one in my audience who will pay higher fees. I can't charge that until I have a certification or my next certification. I had a conversation with a client last week. And mainly our session was focused around stuff that's happening in her personal life. Like as entrepreneurs, we're not just business owners. We have lives. We've got kids. We've got relationships that are falling apart. We've got health issues. Like we're human. And so this client was talking about she's got a bunch of drama happening in her home with one of her kids, and she was bringing up, I asked her, and she's brought up how frustrated she was because she should be working on her branding so that she can charge more and grow her business. But because of everything that's been happening, all her energy has been put elsewhere and she hasn't done anything on her rebranding. And I said to her, what if you actually can charge more and grow your business exactly as you currently are and exactly as your business currently is? What if you don't need the rebranding? What if this is one of those weird rules, weird assumptions you've put in place that's blocked your growth? What if there are people who will pay you twice what they pay you now without needing all the fancy website and all the fancy pictures and all of that stuff? And she was like, huh, now that you mention it, I had this amazing conversation with somebody who wants to collaborate. It didn't look like it mattered. No, it doesn't matter. It matters if you believe it matters. So that's the piece around like how assumptions affect our business, because in some ways we're always creating these weird rules in our own head. And when you create a rule for your life, for your business, that rule becomes the truth. That assumption becomes the truth. So when I believe that my reach is too small, that my visibility is too small, that my audience is too small to reach my goal, guess what? That becomes true. I'm not able to reach my goal without that. Then when I decide and start to shift that belief, then suddenly things open, because literally that part of my brain is actually connecting to opportunities I literally was not seeing within my current audience or my current reach. Or suddenly I'm actually not sabotaging my progress. I'm responding to people. I'm doing what I need to do within my small audience to actually reach my goals. So that's the first question I have for you, is where are you creating rules and making assumptions that don't automatically need to be true, and they're really holding you back? You're basically saying, my success is for later. My results are when I'm someone different. My me reaching my goals, me getting to that next level is going to take all these things that I don't have right now. And you're literally pushing everything away from you. It's like you're building this inner resistance to receiving. Now, the piece that I want to bring up that I mentioned at the beginning, that missing link. When I hear a lot of people talk about the law of assumptions, the law of attraction, for me, they never talk about how all those assumptions, all those beliefs, all that doubt that we have is not just up here, and you can't just change it up here. It's not just a thought. It's not just a belief system. It's literally based on some kind of old wound, some kind of contraction in your nervous system that's sometimes either comes from an experience you had as a child, sometimes that shit's been passed down to you from your family members. But all of us who've done the work of like trying to change how we think and doing affirmations, and like that works to a certain point, but it really doesn't work enough. Oftentimes we'll see a nice little boost and then we'll drop right back to where we used to be. Literally, it's like our body can't sustain the expansion we desire. So it's not just about changing how you think. It's not just about realizing, holy shit, I'm creating all these rules that are keeping me small, that are keeping me in hiding, that are keeping me overlooked, that are keeping me from charging the rates I want to charge. That's the first step. That's amazing, right? And absolutely decide something different and start to look for evidence in your environment that that's not true. Get your brain to start activating in a different and looking for evidence in a different way. But you also have to go in the body and see, where is the root of that original belief that I'm not enough as I am, that there is a lack, and my clients, my ideal clients, are not in my audience, that people will not buy from me. Other people get to have these kinds of results, but not me. Those are not up here, they're in here. And so being able to really move into the nervous system to find the knot, the contraction that's binding us, and to be able to, my process is all around offering the missing experience that led all these parts of us to start to armor, to start to retract, to start to contract on themselves, and being able to really free that up in the body, to dissolve it, to bring it back into wholeness in the body. When you start to do that, then the reality you want start to feel possible in here, and your nervous system starts to calibrate and imprint a new way of being. And that's when what used to feel hard now no longer feels hard. That's when, rather than having the assumption, oh man, to get to this, it's going to take a long time, it's going to take a lot of work, it's going to be hard, I'm going to be overwhelmed, like all these assumptions that keep you tight and keep you from essentially sabotaging your progress, all of that starts to open. It starts to relax, it starts to open, and then suddenly it's not just a thought, oh, I can do that, that's no problem, like I'll figure it out, it's not going to take that long, it's not going to be that hard. It's not just a new thought that arises, it's a new way of being, it's a new way of feeling yourself. So you're actually not figuring out money anymore, you're not figuring out results anymore, you're figuring you out. And when you figure you out, that's when money, results, progress starts to happily and easily arise and emerge on their own. Like I always like to say, money is not the end destination. Money is not even the focus. Money is the happy ripple of being in alignment, of taking action, of not getting in your own way. When you figured you out, money is the happy ripple that comes out of that. And it comes out of that naturally. So the last piece I'm going to say before I go is one of the games that I play with this. And I actually have never called it the law of assumption. I have called it the law of polarity. And the law of polarity essentially says that everything emerges whole, everything emerges together. So for example, if a poison emerges in nature, then usually the antidote to that poison is either right in the poison itself or is right on around it. This AI always freaks me out. So that's the way nature works. When one thing arises, its opposite kind of arise, or its solution arises together. So if there's a problem, like I don't feel like my clients are in my audience, or no one in my audience will pay me the rates I want, then there's automatically a solution that arose and emerged out of that. If there's a desire that emerges, then the way to that desire automatically emerged with the desire itself. It's almost like they're two sides of a piece of toast. They can't not come into existence together. The way our brain is wired, the way our nervous system is wired, is to focus on the problem. And unfortunately, when we focus on the problem, literally we create a tunnel vision, we create brain training that all we see is evidence of the problem. And so the law of polarity, or it could also be the law of assumption, is start assuming, oh, if there's a problem, then there's a solution. If there's a desire, then there's a way to get there. And I don't mean a way to get there or a solution far away when you're different or when things are different. I mean right now, in this current environment. And so what you start to do is you start to retrain the brain and the nervous system to actually start looking for the solution, the pathway that is automatically already here and arose with the problem, but you can't see yet. So that's a way of using the law of assumption that is extremely powerful. Whenever you feel stuck, assume that the sense of feeling stuck emerge with actually a way out of stuckness. And rather than allowing your brain to do its regular thing and to kind of focus on only the stuckness and the frustration and the friction of that, you start to train your brain to look for, where's the pathway? There is a pathway. What if there was a pathway? What if the antidote to the stuckness is right here? What might that be? And over time, your brain will start to rewire itself for that. So literally, solutions start to arise even before problems are really conscious. It's like in your back brain, you know that there's a problem, but it hasn't quite percolated to the top. And literally, like before you're even really fully anchored in the problem, your brain is looking for the solution. So to end this, don't forget the body. You want your law of attraction to work. You want the law of assumption to work. You want answers to your problems. You want solutions. You want pathways to your big dreams. Go in the body. Release first all the knots in there, all the contractions that say, this is how the world is. This is who I am. I'm not good enough. It's scary to be visible. I will lose my freedom. Everything that keeps you small, everything that keeps you tight, everything that essentially has rooted those initial assumptions, those initial rules that keep you small, they're rooted in your body. You need to dissolve them, unlock them first, free them. And then you start to retrain your brain and your nervous system to be calibrated to what you want. All right, that's what I have for you. I hope this was informative. It was kind of interesting. I usually have all these notes to just come to you here without any notes and just chat. I will be back on Thursday with all my notes, with a full training on how to release the past, and a really powerful way to release the past and release all those things that keep you bound so that you can step into what is possible and you can really make space for what you want. So see you on Thursday.